It's weird because I'm talking to no one. I'm literally talking to silence right now. So my name is Sandy. I'm a hypnotherapist, and you guys found me through this viral thing. And most of the time when people call me for a consultation, the first thing we talk about is what is there really to expect? A lot of times people come and they're expecting that I'm going to wave a magic wand and erase their memory of their ex-girlfriend and then life's going to be better forever. No. In fact, I had a guy call me, this was like 2 weeks ago, and he said, hey, you're a hypnotist, right? I said, yeah. He said, so you can make me forget my ex-girlfriend? I said, no. He's like, wait, I mean, don't you do that? Don't you go back in time, past lives, past whatever? Well, I can, but you won't. That's right, I won't. Seriously? Yeah, no, seriously, why? I said, because you just called and said, can I pay you good money so you can turn me into a coward? And I will not do that. I said, because if I erase your ex-girlfriend, then I have to erase every future girlfriend, and then I have to erase parts of your mother and parts of the guy from the grocery store and some guy from work as well. So if you would have called me and said, hey, I'd love to come in for hypnotherapy, and perhaps you can help me find some power within me so I can go out and see all 10 ex-girlfriends and be fine, I say, now we're talking. Now, usually when I have that conversation with people, they say, yeah, you know what, that's a better idea. But I already knew. And he said, yeah, no thanks. I said, have a good time. So that we are doing magic, but it's probably not in the magic way people see in the movies. So I'll give you an example of some sort of magical things that have happened in my office just in the last 3 weeks. I had a doctor come in. This doctor happens to be probably twice my age and has been practicing medicine longer than I've been alive, and said, all right, I surrender. What do you got? I said, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. So this person had eczema, right? Welts all over the hands and swollen hands as well. And said, believe me, I've tried everything. I said, oh, I know. So what can you do for me? So we talked a little bit. And by the end of a 1 hour, you know, it was an hour and a half. By the end of an hour and a half session, they said, look at my hands. Gone. Sitting in the chair right there. Gone. So those things do happen. I'll tell you another story. This was last week. I had a woman come in who wanted to work on communication at home, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love to role play. And people really learn insights about themselves and other people and what's going on in their brains when they're fighting with you. And it brings up a lot of compassion once you have an understanding of this. So we worked on communication in the first session. Second session, she comes back and she said, you're not going to believe this. Not only did things start to get better at home, which I kind of expected, right? That's why I'm here. She said, but I broke my foot 6 years ago and it hasn't functioned properly and it's been in pain ever since. She said, while I was sitting in your chair, it was gone and I didn't tell you because, you know, I didn't know what was going to happen. She said, I've been a week pain-free and my foot is literally moving and functioning better than before. And that's not even something we specifically targeted. In fact, I didn't even know about her foot, but it was her. It was her subconscious mind. And as she's clearing up this communication, these other things in her body are starting to help themselves. So these are things that do happen. I see it pretty much every day, but I don't want to hand you an over expectation because it takes time. Sometimes it takes 3 weeks of conversation to come up with what's really going on. Generally, I'll see people for about 4 weeks. On occasion, I kick people out after the first week because they're done. Smokers, usually on the first session. Often they will come back just for a follow-up. Sometimes it takes a smoker 3 weeks. Vaping is something we started working with in just, the past few years more than ever, and even in the last year. Sometimes vapors, I see them more than 4 weeks. For some reason, I have had vapors who finish on the first day. So with those expectations in mind, I think you're having, perhaps because I'm not getting feedback, right? So I'm just talking to myself, but I feel like that gives a little bit of a better understanding of, yeah, there really are hypno miracles. And yeah, I see them pretty much on a daily basis. Bottom line, I want you to give yourself 3-4 weeks. They say if you look up the science of it, it takes somewhere between 21 and 66 days to create a new habit. And that's what we're doing. We're not erasing old ones. We're creating new ones. And when you come in, or if I see you on Zoom, I'll explain more and go more in depth about how that works in your brain, because this really all is scientific. Let's say you're sitting in a chair, you're just the chair you're in now, and you're staring at a blank white wall. How long do you want to sit there? Now, I cannot hear your answer. but I'm going to guess you're going to give the right answer, which is not very long, a couple seconds maybe, right? If you hold your breath, maybe 2 minutes. So now you're sitting in the same chair, staring at the same white wall, and your favorite movie is playing. Now you can sit there 2 hours, right? So while you're sitting there, you're not feeling your legs, but if anybody pointed out your legs, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course I can feel my legs, right? And you may have been drinking your, let's pretend you've been working with me, so you're not drinking soda, you could. But let's say you're drinking your bubbly water with lemon and loving it. You're still maybe doing it mindlessly during the movie, but if we point it out, then you're like, oh yeah, of course I'm doing this. So it's because when you're at the movie, you're in a state of hypnosis, right? So it's a hyper state of focus. And now here's where it starts to get fun. So now you're watching the movie and the scary part happens, so your heart beats really fast. You've gone into fight or flight. That's measurable. Science will tell you, yes, that is what occurred. You were in the scary part of the movie, and so your heart beat faster. You went into fight or flight. Okay, fine. But then why don't you run out of the movie theater? There's a part of you that is believing it. That's measurable. Your heart's beating fast. There's a part of you that just knows that you're safe. And I love to use this example, especially when it comes to weight loss. And I know a lot of you are here for weight loss, and I appreciate that. So this shows that literally through hypnosis, through a hyper focus, through storytelling, it's really fun. It feels great, right? Physiological changes take place. And that is how we can go through hypnotherapy for weight loss and not go on a crazy diet ever and not have to change too much, because physiologically the body starts to get rid of what it doesn't need, because body changes take place when the mind and body learn together what they want to hold on to and what they want to let go of. So if you're coming to me for weight loss, or any of my team members, all of the elite team members were trained by the same people. Every single one of my elite team members is up there on the level of featured in Oprah, national, international attention, radio, TV, every one of them is amazing. Hypnosis, what it feels like for some people, they describe it as like a very heavy sinking feeling in a good way, like a mud bath, right? Just like a massage from angel's hands, right? Just a deep, heavy sinking feeling. And other people describe hypnosis, being in this state of hypnosis as just light and tingly and sort of floaty and high and wonderful, and it's heavy and light, and weirdly that's sort of the same thing. So it's always fun for me to get feedback from people after they've had their first session and just see sort of where you land in those categories. You are not sleeping. We do use the words deep sleep, and that is because the brainwave states of hypnosis are the equivalent of deep brainwave states when you're sleeping. So hypnosis and meditation are not exactly the same, but we're going to put them in the same category for our purposes. They're pretty close. So when you're meditating, you're meditating. And when you're sleeping, and both of those are really important things. But if you're meditating and you fall asleep, you're not meditating. And you all know that meditation, one of the benefits of meditation, which is hypnosis, is science shows 30 minutes of actual meditation is the equivalent for the mind and body of 8 hours of sleep. Meditation, hypnosis, yes. Sleep, yes. But when we look at what we want to accomplish in hypnosis, we want you to be aware. I have to repeat that a few times to people, because if I don't, at the end, they're like, wow, I feel really good, but I wasn't sleeping, so it didn't work. I'm like, no, right. Because it's what we use to bypass the critical factor of the mind. We want you aware, and that's how changes take place. Otherwise, you're just sleeping, which is also a really good thing.
Are there any tests we can do how easily hypnotizable a person is?
I love that question. Good. Thank you. People come to me all the time and they say, I've been to another hypnotherapist. I wasn't able to be hypnotized. Every single person is hypnotizable. It's our natural state. You need the right hypnotist with the right training. And every person on my elite team has the right training. And in phase 2, they will all also have had the right training. You absolutely can be hypnotized by the right person.
How many things can you work on at once?
We're never working on one thing, because it's always something else, right? I had somebody recently for quitting smoking, and so of course I asked, well, where and when do you smoke? Blah, blah, blah. So it's always like, oh, as soon as my work call for Zoom ends, I run. It's right by my kitchen. I run to my kitchen. I smoke. So obviously I know that work is stressful for her. I literally, in her hypnosis, never mentioned smoking once. And I only worked on bringing down anxiety around work. She didn't ask me to do that. That's what I did. And so she comes in for her follow-up. She said, Sandy, the strangest thing happened. She said, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to have urges to smoke, and I didn't. She's like, a little bit here and there, but I overcame it, and so I didn't smoke. And I said, good. I want you to know that you can have an urge, and you're going to win, right? You win some, you lose some, but ultimately you're on the winning side, and then it doesn't take too long where being a permanent ex-smoker is the habit, right? So we get there. She said, I had kind of no urges. I didn't care about smoking at all. She said, but the weirdest thing happened. I started to like my job more, and I'm feeling a whole lot less stress in my body, and therefore, and then she named 5 things that are actually functioning more properly in her body, and how she's created new work for relationships. And I said, well, do you remember what I said in your hypnosis? She's like, no. And that's so of course we're working on multiple things. If weight loss were not actually an emotional journey, everybody could read the book on weight loss and get it right, but it's not the case. It's always something specific about how you view yourself in the world, and those are the multiple layers, always.
Someone said, are there certain kinds of problems which hypnosis can't help with?
I understand what you're saying, so I'm going to agree with you that, yeah, I mean, like, ultimately it's all about what's going on in your mind, but yes, there are many times where I send someone to someone else. I say, you're beyond my scope. Hypnotherapy can help, but like, we're not going to get that done. No. So yeah, no, I do send people on.
Someone asked, would it be a session per issue? Like a session per case?
No. We'll look at what your priorities are, and usually we can get it all done because it's all related. But I have had people work on one thing and they're so happy with the results. They come back and they say, can we work on another thing? And so we can do it that way, but yeah, we can sort of, it's individual. I had a guy, who's a songwriter, came in to quit smoking and lose weight. I said, oh dude, those are the 2 biggest things. He's like, well, can we do them together? I said, yeah, but like, even though usually we quit smoking in one day because we're piling it all in one thing, let's just give it all some time. He said, I'm in. And so after his first session, he went home. By the time he got home, it was like 11 p.m. And he said, I sat down, wrote an entire song from beginning to end, recorded it. He said, and I did something that I've been wanting to do for so many years and I've been scared to death to do. He said, I reached out to this very famous producer. It was 2 a.m. I sent him my stuff. He said, Sandy, I did 1 session of hypnosis and this inspiration was flowing through me. And not only that, but the courage to email him I never had before. He said, I sent him that song and I heard back from him in the morning and he said, when can we get started? And by the way, within about 3 weeks, his wife got pregnant and they've been trying for years. Did I do this? Yes. No. I told him, I said, look, I'm only going to take 98% credit. But these are the kinds of things that occur when we start to open up. Everything opens up. Because let's face it, you're either open or closed. You're open or closed, right? So we do open.
If I go to the gym, everything is up to me, and I can clearly control my physical activity. During hypnotherapy, one doesn't have the same objective parameters, e.g. 30 reps, and the same amount of control. So
it's a control question. Yes, it is. I'm going to answer that question with, now that we're in deeper, right? So anybody who's still on this call wants more, I'm going to teach you what I would teach you in session. So this is way beyond a consultation call at this point. You got 2 parts of your brain, the front part and the back part. And the front part is your conscious mind. It's the smart part, and it makes up 12% of your mind power. And the 12% smart part of your brain, the conscious mind that's in the front, logic, language, reasoning, analyzing, decision-making, willpower, desires, okay? Thinking, it's the part that thinks, and it's 12% of your mind power. Back part of your brain, reptilian brain, 88% subconscious mind, automatic. It is not logical. This is logical. This is illogical. This is rational. You've already figured it out. This is irrational, and this is the toddler that's running your life. It only plays automatic programming. It does not think because it cannot think. And often people think, well, if the part that runs me is irrational and illogical, there's no hope because that must be bad. No, it's not bad. It doesn't use logic and it doesn't use reasonability. It simply acts. So it can act good, it can act bad, but either way, it's not thinking. So what we want to do is take your desires that, right? So here's what somebody calls me and they say, I want to quit smoking, right? 12% is talking to me. They say, I want to quit smoking. I heard there's rat poison in cigarettes. 88% says, did you say cigarettes? I would love one. Thank you so much. And this guy says, no. Look, I'm really not smoking. Did you say smoking? I would love. Look, watch. Willpower. I'm not smoking. Okay. Shiny thing. Whoop. Because 88 is always going to win. So that's what happened with you. Everyone on this call, you guys and sugar. I'm not eating sugar. Okay. So what we do is we take what's in your here and we bypass this critical factor and we put it in your here. So now what runs you is, my God, I was smoking 2 packs a day for 30 years. And now I'm looking at that guy smoking. And I swear to God, I used to have that repulsive habit and I just don't care anymore. Because this guy used to say smoking, yay. And now it's a smoking, disgusting. So that's all that's going on here. So now to more directly answer that question, I can only take your this and stick it in here. I can't take my this and stick it in here. I can hypnotize you, but I'd be shooting blanks because unless it's in your desires, I can't. Your subconscious mind will only accept what your conscious mind is going to allow to even go through that barrier. Did that answer the question?
I want to say it did.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm getting some yeses from the 4 people I'm looking at.
Fantastic.
So I want to take this further because here's where it gets really fun. Something happens where we freak out. Now, in the bucket of freak out, I'm putting anxiety, tension, negative trigger, ex-girlfriend, fears, right? So that scary thing, negative emotion is all, we're using that as the same word. So scary thing happens. There's a wall that goes up between the front part of the brain and the back part of the brain. You go into fight or flight and you don't have access to logic. This matters a lot because this is why if you've ever been in an argument with anybody, this is why it's not their fault. And this is why it's not your fault, but now we're going to do something differently about it. So let's take this example of a wall going up, which means you're in fight or flight. 1,000 years ago, fight or flight was a tiger is chasing me. So the wall goes up because you don't want to stop for 1 second and be like, I ordered something on Amazon that was supposed to be here Monday. Let me check my orders. No, your wall goes up so you can't think and you just run. It's survival. Okay. 1,000 years ago, fight or flight is tiger is chasing me. Again, wall goes up because you've heard real true life stories of the mother lifting a car with her bare hands to save her children. The wall is up because if she stopped for 1 second to think, oh my God, I weigh 170 pounds. I can't lift a car. That would not end well. So she can't think. She gets the chemical surge from fight or flight that goes through her body. She gets the strength. She gets what she needs. The car gets lifted. She saves her children. Tomorrow she can't lift that car. But in the moment she can because she can't think. So that's why the wall goes up. But now here's an example of how 1,000 years ago, fight or flight, tiger is chasing me. Today, guy at grocery store looked at me funny. Primitive brain doesn't know the difference. It does the same reaction, whether somebody was not nice to you or somebody is actually running after you. So because of that, our primitive system works exactly the same, and now it works against us because so many people in today's society are in fight or flight all day. I'll give you an example. So I had a woman come in for fear of flying. Lovely woman, dressed nicely, so polite, so sweet. She's on an airplane. It starts to take off, and in less than half a second, she pulls the seatbelt off, and she jumps screaming on the stranger, the man next to her, arms and legs wrapped around him, bear hugging, screaming on this man. He was very nice about it. But I said, if you were in your rational mind, would you have ever done such? And she said, no, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed to this day. I'm so embarrassed. Said, it's not your fault. The wall went up because you got scared for whatever reason. I mean, it's a plane. You got scared. Wall goes up. Nobody can tell you at that point, hey, don't you know the statistic that it's much more dangerous to drive in a car than fly an airplane? People know this, but when the wall's up, they don't have access to what they already know. So the conscious mind can process 40 bits of information per second. It's a powerful machine. When I think of that, I think of like somebody speed reading. I can't speed read, but I know that I have capacity, and so that's pretty cool, not using it. The unconscious mind, the part that can't think and not use logic, but it's the part that runs you, processes 40 million bits of information per second. So now, and this is all Bruce Lipton stuff, now you're driving somewhere, and then you got there, and you're like, oh God, I don't know how I got here. I'm looking at the 4 people's faces. You ever been there? You're driving, and then you get there, you're like, all right. So you're in autopilot. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, actually. So then somebody says to you, you remember the tree 3 minutes ago? And you're like, no, I don't remember the tree 3 minutes ago. And you're telling the truth. You don't, because your 40 bits per second didn't get the tree. But your 40 million got the tree. Because if you didn't see the tree, you would have hit the tree. So your 40 million saw 40 million trees, and it directed you around it. Good. So it works for us. This was a system that was supposed to benefit us to have a very, very, very happy and healthy life. So when it's working well, it's working well. So now the woman on the airplane, she unlocks, and then she goes, around the guy. She may be in her 40s, but this 2-year-old that's running her scanned 40 million things this fast and said, that guy can help me. Because if there were a child sitting next to her, she probably wouldn't have bear hugged the child. Maybe she would have run down the aisle. Maybe she would have hid under her chair. But she got 40 million choices to file through in 1 second. And so the 2-year-old said, that guy can help. It's not logical. Are you guys following that? So that is how we work with the mind in hypnosis. We take what you have logically and we stick it in here.
What is the difference between a live session and a Zoom session?
The only time I would say there's a difference is if you don't feel safe at home, or like if your kids, you know what I mean? Like if there's a distraction, otherwise no difference. Last story, and then we'll do the party trick. She said, I went through all of the school and all of the medical school. And I've always done well. I'm a smart person and I've been in school my whole life. And now it's the last test to become a doctor. When I pass this test, I get DR period before my name. If you fail the test 7 times, you can't take it again. Okay? She said, so I failed it 6 times. Can you help? No problem. Now she's asking me for study skills and memory techniques. And I say, sure, I have them. I legitimately do have them, and I legitimately will give them to her. She doesn't need any of it. Doesn't need it, but I'll give it to her. Let's talk about what happened with her. She studies for the test. She files the information, color-coded files right here in the front smart part of the brain, okay? There are even cross-reference files. She studied perfectly. It's in there. She goes to the testing center. She goes down to take a test. Now, becoming a doctor for her equals scary thing, tigers chasing them. If you go to a typical talk therapist, they may say to you, why don't we figure out what's scaring you? Because you, without me telling you, you in your mind are already like, self-sabotage. Okay, yeah, right. So now we can do it one of 2 ways. If you want to do typical talk therapy, which is amazing, it's important, it works, people need it, do it, okay? But what you might do when you go to a talk therapist is say, let's look at why I don't want to become a doctor. Maybe it's because I don't want somebody to die on my watch. Maybe my dad wanted me to be a doctor and I wanted to be a ballerina. Okay, so you see, if we go through the past, we can go to therapy for 20 years and come up with maybe the right answer. Who knows? Nobody can prove it. I have very little concern. It matters to me that you have a concern, but what it is, we're going to treat it just the same, because what we do know is when you sit down to take the test to become a doctor, it equals scary thing. So we don't need to spend 20 years defining scary thing. At the end of the day, the next question is, so now what? So let's just start with now what? So she takes the test, freaks out, wall goes up. She doesn't have access to her answers, so she fails the test. She leaves. It takes about, science will tell you, about 20 minutes. That wall comes down. She says to her friend, my God, I thought I studied, and apparently I'm not good at studying anymore. Apparently my memory, there must be something wrong with my memory. Let me call Sandy and maybe she'll give me study skills and memory techniques. Well, that's a logical conclusion. So in reality, now you know what you know. If anxiety brought the wall up so she didn't have access to her answers, what brings the wall down? You're right, it's relaxation. So my job is to, through certain hypnotic techniques, when she sits down to take the test, instead of it triggering wall up, it actually triggers wall down. We actually bring on a sense of calm, and there are techniques that we use to get there. But my only job is not to teach her medical things. It's not to, she doesn't need to study any better, although we can give her that. My job is to keep her wall down, so when she's there, she has access to what she already knows. Stand up and put your right thumb out in front of you, right in front of your eyes. Okay. Now you're standing in a clock. So right in front of you is 12 o'clock. And then to your right is 1, 2. So all the way to your right is 3 o'clock. If you were to put your thumb behind you is 6 o'clock. If you were to put your thumb to your left, it's 9 o'clock. And then 10, 11, and 12's in front of you. So there's a clock. You're in the clock. All right. I want you to just keep your feet exactly planted. Keep your feet, don't move your feet, and go ahead. Your eyes stay on your thumb. Keep your arms straight out. Your eyes are looking at your thumb. Your feet are planted. Go ahead and turn in the clock just as far as you can go. So you're going to turn. Your eyes are looking at your thumb, and you go to 1, 2, 3, wherever you're going to go. Your eyes and thumb stay together. Okay, I can see a few of you. 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Michelle, you haven't done it. All right, go. All right, good. Now go. Let me see, Michelle. Where are you going? Let's see. Michelle's turning her feet. Michelle's walking around. Michelle just turned in a complete circle. All right. So everybody come back to center. Keep your feet planted. Drop your arms. So it may not work if you didn't follow instructions. Okay, so drop your arms completely. Now close your eyes. You are standing. Your feet are in one place. Your arms are dangling down. The clock is still around you. But you now, in your mind, are picturing your arm is actually dangling down. But in your mind, you're picturing that your thumb's in front of you, just in your mind. So let me get a nod from the few people I'm looking at, and you see your thumb out in front of you just like it was, but your eyes are closed. Now you're a cartoon character, a cute one with a belly made of warm taffy, almost like Gumby, but his belly's even softer. And you start turning on the clock, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. You're at 6 o'clock because you're this cartoon character and you have an owl head. You know, the eyes close slowly and open slowly, right? You have an owl head that can turn all the way around. In your mind, you're a cartoon character. And now all of a sudden, with this taffy belly, you're turning to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You're 3/4 of the way around. In your mind, you're a cartoon character. Of course, when we squeeze that belly, it makes your head go up higher. Your head's an owl head. And now your owl head turns all the way around. And your thumb and your head and your mind, Michelle quit. Your thumb and your head and your mind are a cartoon character. And so now you're turned all the way, an entire way around to 12 o'clock, twisted completely around. You're an adorable cartoon character with a taffy belly. And just for fun, we're going to squeak it all the way to 1 o'clock. So you're around all the way and a little bit more. And you're twisted, 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 twisted. In a second, when I snap my fingers, it's going to rewind in your mind and you're going to open your eyes now. Okay, put up your thumb and go. Keep your feet planted. Go. Come on, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. You got this. A little more. You got it. All right, and come back. And have a seat. Usually, because I only see 4 of you, usually people go further on the second time. Can I get a head nod? You went further on the second time? Okay.
I'm getting some OMG. It worked. Can't believe it. Yes, it worked.
Fun. Can I just for fun, Natalie, you want to have a conversation with me real quick? Can we pull Natalie up?
Hey, how are you?
Nice to meet you. Thank you. What happened? What happened?
I went from about just gone 6 to nearly 9.
I don't know what percent that is, but it's in like the 30.
I'm slightly older, so my pelvis was a little bit sore, but I went all the way around. Yeah, about just done. Yeah, way over 8, but I went a lot further.
Oh, okay. So how do you explain it?
I was allowing myself to, I guess. There was no barrier. I just kept.
You're kind of right. You're kind of right. So let me explain what happened. We have a belief system about ourselves. Now, none of us has ever been spinning in a clock before. So how can I have a belief about spinning in a clock, right? But you still have a belief system about yourself. And looking at you, you've had this belief system. You're 23 years old. So you've had this belief system for 23 years. Okay, so you in any situation are going to perform based on whatever your belief system is around you. 40 million bits per second, you don't even know it's occurring. So the 40 million already figured out who you're supposed to be in a clock, even though it's your first time doing it, all right? So what we did on the second time around is we made you not you. Cartoon character is just a way to take you out of your limiting belief systems, and then all things are possible. And so now just to check, okay, did you do yoga between time 1 and time 2?
No.
Did you read a book on twisting?
No, I put that down.
You mean you did no work? You were lazy? You did nothing and you still
I did absolutely nothing. I'm a lazy woman. That is me.
That is how effortless. Perfect. Thank you for being lazy, because you show all the rest of us lazy people that hypnosis really is that effortless. What we did is we created a new possibility because there was no resistance in being a cartoon character. So it's so funny because recently I had a guy fully tattooed, sits like this, right, in my office, and he does it, and his initial reaction was, whoa, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? So now he sits down, now he's thinking, now he's got a minute to think. And he goes, hold on, wait a minute. You made it seem like you did something to me hypnotically, but I just figured it out. I could have done it all along. And I'm like, right. Right, exactly. And so it really is effortless and it really is fun. Joel, you posted how if people want to just go ahead and book now, while he's doing that, just go through the same system and then just email me. I've gotten back to every single person I think. Email me and we're going to get you set up immediately with an elite team member. And these people are my teachers. These people are my hypnotherapists and they're all famous in their own right. So, and then phase 2 is going to be lower cost and phase 3 is going to be, I don't even know what, but lots of free and low cost stuff. Cool. I love you all so much.